All right. Good morning. Testing. Can everybody hear me okay? All right. All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome and thank you for joining us here today. This panel is on the New York State heat pump incentives. So just to reiterate, Christine, I'll try and say geothermal ground source heat pump incentives every time for today. We have reps from both the utilities across New York State as well as NYSERDA who will be talking about the ground source heat pump incentives as well as several other programs that we're offering to help contractors as well as customers here in New York State. Just to kick things off, my name is Will Shah. I'm the Director of Multifamily Residential Programs at NYSERDA. Some of you may know me from the past, but I've been with this joint management committee structure for the last few years. So I'm joined today by several of my colleagues, and I will start with Nicole here on my left. If you want to just briefly introduce yourself, name, role, and organization, please.
Sure. Hi, Nicole Williams. I manage our NYSEG and RG&E Clean Heat program.
Hi, I'm Hannah Morgan from NYSERDA, and I coordinate the P12 schools efforts there.
Hey, good morning, folks. David Orellano. I work for Edison. I run our geothermal incentive programs.
Good morning, folks. My name is Cory, Nicosia. I'm from NYSERDA, and I run our residentially facing decarbonization marketing efforts.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Jonathan Tham. I'm with PSEG Long Island. I run their home comfort program, which is our air source, and also our geothermal program as well. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, folks. So we are going to go through everyone's presentations today and leave about 10 to 15 minutes at the end for questions. So just if everyone has a question, just please make a note of that. I will be sort of chiming in between to kind of ask clarifying questions as needed and to kind of keep us rolling. And let me just minimize this. A lot of tech issues today. All right, we will get started with the New York State Clean Heat Geothermal Incentive Programs, and we'll start with Nicole Williams, who will give not just an overview of the program overall, but also specifically for offerings for what's called the rest of state utilities that's accepting Con Ed. So I'll turn it over to Nicole.
Thanks, Will. There we go. All right. So this is a pretty poignant slide to start off with, I think. I have a lot to say on this slide, so I'll let you know when it's time to pass. Sure. And I'll make sure not to go over my time. But, we heard from Chair Christian, right, about CLCPA goals. We heard from our keynote speakers about, the, goals our governor is, accomplishing for New York State. Well, as a result of that, and again, because we do have some newer faces in the crowd, I'm not going to go back to the beginning, but we are going to just give a little history of clean heat quickly. So as a result, of course, for our CLCPA, Public Service Commission issued New Efficiency New York Order 2020. And clean heat was a part of that, of course. We were ordered. The utilities were going to be taking on incentives for heat pumps, including geothermal. And along with that came a joint management committee because we wanted this, or this is a statewide effort, and we are in coordination, collaboration with NYSERDA as well for marketing, communications, workforce development in this effort. We are charged with aggressive heat pump, geothermal, as well, adoption in New York State. So first few years, you can see we certainly worked on ramping up our participation of all heat pumps for electrification, but you can see, and our focus here is on geothermal, and I think we've done a pretty decent job. You can see where we've come, and at the end of 2023, we had done almost 900 geothermal heat pump installations. So I want to thank everyone here who's partnered and helped and supported the program in installing those geothermal projects. I'd also quickly just show of hands, how many participating contractors in the New York State Clean Heat program do we have in here? Okay. Yep, I'm going to call those out who aren't. Any show of hands? All right. Well, if there are, we'll certainly get into it later on how you can enroll in the program. And, I would appreciate those who are already participating contractors to also actively recruit and, bring in more quality installations into our program. You can go ahead to the next slide. Thanks.
And just real quick, Nicole, for the links for contractor resources, everyone's contacts here, we do have one slide at the end with all of that information, and it's my understanding the slides will be shared after? Yes. Right, so everybody will get that, and everybody can become a participating contractor when this is over. Thank you.
Exactly. And you can also access our annual reports and program manuals there, so you can see fully how each utility is done with the program per year, and then specifically for 2023. So what do we offer? Well, again, since we're at NY-GEO, we're only focusing on our geothermal offerings at this time. Of course, we have a couple different structures as to the incentives that we offer, but for your residential, your smaller business customers, we offer, of course, ground source heat pump, full load incentives, and there's varying incentive amounts per utility. We try to stay as aligned as possible to avoid confusion, just to help in, bidding these jobs as well. But that is per capacity of the actual geothermal unit that we offer incentives for. Then we also, our custom category 4 are for those larger commercial industrial type projects. We also offer, of course, domestic hot water incentives, DC superheaters, and anything that will help to make the project more efficient and allow for full electrification of that project. So again, slides will be handed out. I'm not going to go through every single category. I'm sure there's many of you that are familiar with this, but here's our list of what we are offering currently in the program. And again, a part of our joint management committee is that we meet regularly and discuss other available technologies and options for the programs too. So we can move on. This will just give the amounts like I was talking about. It's a lot of information. It's varying per utility. Definitely grab a screenshot now or wait for the presentation at the end. But it's important to just point out our prescriptive or our residential or small business incentives. Those actually are, again, per capacity of the unit versus your custom projects were going to be a dollar amount per savings of the annual energy saved. So a little different structure. Custom projects, it's important to get involved from the beginning, from the design phase, whereas our prescriptive, that category 3 right there, you would apply after the job is done, and you have about 60 days to do so. And I'm just going to quick add in there too, speaking about submitting applications and such. Our processing team does a wonderful job in getting all the applications processed and addressed if there's any type of issues that need additional follow-up. And we're looking at really great payment timelines as far as getting those incentives or the payments back to those contractors, so they're not lacking as well. Right now, we're around, under the 15-day timeline for a regular application. Once that comes into our program, then out the door payment to the contractor. A little bit under 30 if the applications need attention. So it's really, really important to, just get those applications in, quality applications, and be in contact with account managers to get those through. So, finally, for anyone who is afraid to raise their hands, how can you participate in the Clean Heat program? We have, there's various documents that we do require. You can we have our contractor resource page, which provides links for application there. Again, account manager, if you're working with one specifically, certainly reach out to them. We also have participating contractor and industry partner webinars quarterly where we share information, look for any type of feedback or suggestions. We welcome all to attend and to even get on the distribution list for Clean Heat. And again, it's really important. We've done good work but we have a lot more to do as we're in year 4 and 5 of the Clean Heat program. And again, I appreciate everyone's participation and support.
Okay, thank you, Nicole. So we're going to keep going further downstate. So that was Nicole covering the Clean Heat program as well as what we're calling the rest of state. So that's everyone but Con Ed. So with that, I'll turn over to David to speak specifically about Con Ed's incentives.
Thanks, Will. Good morning, folks. My name is David. I work for Con Edison. I'm going to be talking a little bit about our incentive offerings today through the Clean Heat program for ground source heat pumps. But if there's one thing to take away from all of this presentation, we have funding. We really want to see geothermal grow in our territory and the rest of the state. And we are very eager to work with you to get more projects completed in New York City and Westchester. Great. Actually, could you stay on that slide for a second? For those that don't know, Con Edison, we're the electric, gas, and steam utility in New York City, Westchester. We offer geothermal incentives through the Clean Heat program across all market segments. So it goes from single-family homes up to the large new construction multifamily properties. We have an authorized budget of $10 million a month through the end of 2025. And we're currently running promotional incentive rates across our different customer categories. And recently introduced a new incentive for thermal conductivity testing. We announced that on March 1st. And I'll talk about all that today. Great, I'll start with the residential ground source incentives. This is for 1 to 4 family homes. I know there's a couple people in the room that do that sort of work. We are offering $35,000 per building, or $45,000 per building if the customer lives in a disadvantaged community. To qualify for these promotional rates, we need an application by the end of May, and the project needs to be installed by the end of the year. We also offer incentives for what's called non-residential on this slide, but it really means multifamily, commercial, industrial, institutional, small business. We have promotional incentives here as well. If you have a project that's in an existing building, we're offering $300 per MMBTU of energy saved. If the project is in a new construction building, we're offering $150 per MMBTU of energy saved. Those incentives, when we talk about energy savings there, we're talking about space and water heating, both. And we will offer a slightly higher incentive rate if you're doing really high-performing building envelope upgrades at the same time as part of the same project. To qualify for these promotional rates, we need an application by the end of May and installation, and our team needs to be out to do a post-inspection by November of 2025. And we're very excited about these construction incentives. We're excited about them. We're excited about this promotion. We really think they're a pretty good offering to help more projects happen and help you close more sales. So we're excited about them. We did recently introduce this new incentive category, the thermal conductivity test incentive. This is for multifamily commercial, kind of the large projects where you might be doing thermal conductivity at the beginning of a test, beginning of a project. We're offering $40,000 or 50% of the all-in thermal conductivity test project cost, whichever one is lower, to be paid out at the completion of the thermal conductivity test. We're offering this for one per potential project. And if you're interested, please get in touch with us soon. As part of the program, we do require you to put in an application before doing the testing, before doing the test borehole. And we'll give you, approval and then ask for a little bit of additional information after the test borehole is complete. Why are we offering this new incentive here? Back earlier this year, a few different people, I don't know, maybe some of y'all are in the room, but came to us and said, hey, we have this challenge. Customers that are considering geothermal on large projects, they have a number of costs that they need to bear earlier in the project that other customers, other conventional technologies might not have. right? It's talking about additional engineering analysis and thermal conductivity testing. And they asked us, hey, is there anything you can do to help us address this challenge, help customers get to the point of sale a little bit more quickly, and help more of those sales close? We took the request, we looked at it, we said, hey, we're able to do something here. We think it makes sense. We introduced this, so we built this new offering, introduced it on March 1st. It's really pretty early to tell how it's going, but we already have a number of applications in from a number of different developers, right, engineering companies. It looks like this has really kind of met a need. We're excited about it, and we'll see where it goes. But this incentive, I think, is an example of exactly what it is that we're hoping to do with all of you, with everybody in this room. We are, as I mentioned, we have funding. We want to see this market grow. We want to help it accelerate. If you have ideas on how we can do more to help you, please come and talk to us. We're all ears. The geothermal team, we're at a table in the exhibit hall. You can find us there. You can meet the entire team. You can get resources to explain, more detail on everything I talked about already. And you can learn how to stay in touch. But with that, thank you for your attention, and I'm going to hand it off to John from PSEG Long Island, who will tell you more about their offerings.
Thank you, David.
And just real quick comment, we'll just pick it up just a bit on the panel, and we're going to keep going south, now east. So Jonathan's going to talk about the PSEG program, which is separate from the clean heat one. That's just because the funding sources are different for Long Island. But Long Island does offer their own heat pump programs, and we also do coordinate with the rest of the state. So with that, John, please take it away.
Thank you, Will. Let's see, my name is Jonathan Tham. I run the Home Comfort Program. The Home Comfort Program provides rebates for air conditioning, used to be for air conditioning. Now we're exclusively a cold climate air source heat pump, a geothermal heat pump program. We do offer rebates also for domestic hot water heating. And this is all in line with what the New York State goals are. I've been running this program since 2016, and we've been offering rebates back then on geothermal, so it predates what I've been doing there for a long time. So Long Island's a big supporter of geothermal. We try to promote geothermal by bringing expert training down there every so often. And we're going to be doing some manual J training for our contractors down there later this month. We just had a big conference in Long Island last week to promote heat pump. We invited New York-GEO to be there as well. So we believe that not only do we need to promote air source, but also geothermal heat pump at the same time. Our next slide. Our geothermal heat pump program. Let's see. For new construction, we are offering rebates of $1,000 to $2,000 for every heating tons. Those are the market rate. And for LMI customers, we're offering anywhere between $2,000 to $4,000 per every 12,000 heating BTU or tons. What's the other one? For retrofits, we offer slightly less numbers, but they range from about $500 to $1,400 per every heating BTU. I just want to let you know that previously, last year, we offered rebates, and those numbers were based on cooling tons, and now we've changed them to heating, so that was a slight little change in our program. I think the other change that you can see is pretty much similar to the other program, is that we offer rebates for of $25,000 as a cap for residential for market rate, and also $35,000 for income eligible ones. I think the commercial rebate, we've removed that. That's being handled. Commercial are handled by our commercial program now. So that's a little slight difference on that. Our next slide. That's just another presentation of our same rebates. You can see the efficiencies. Anything that's pretty much on the Energy Star website that qualifies for federal tax credit pretty much qualifies for our geothermal program. Thank you. And then I'm going to head over to Cory.
Yes, thank you, John. So now we're going to go back to take the statewide view. We have two presenters today from NYSERDA, starting with Cory and then Hannah. They're both going to talk about how contractors can be supported. We have programs that provide technical assistance, co-op, advertising, and training. So in addition to the incentives behind the installs, NYSERDA is working with the utilities to provide supporting market development services. So with that, I'll turn over to Cory.
Thanks, Will. Yeah, so we've heard from all of our utility partners here in the room today about the great incentive offerings they have in support of heat pumps, ground source heat pumps, geothermal specifically. So what NYSERDA is here to talk about today is how we bring those customers and get them interested in heat pumps. So we run the New York State Clean Heat Marketing in conjunction with our utility partners. And one arm of that is this cooperative advertising program that we're here to talk about today, and how that can help you grow your business as well as grow market adoption. So the cost-sharing advertising effort through the cooperative advertising program focuses on the technologies you see on screen: cold climate air source, geothermal or ground source heat pumps, as well as heat pump hybrid water heaters, and the complementary energy efficiency, i.e. air sealing and insulation measures. The advertising specifically that we're gonna talk about today is a 50% cost share of what you invest in your advertising market. So we have 3 categories. Manufacturers can earn, or receive back, I should say, not earn, up to $200,000 a year. Heat pump distributors can get back $100,000 a year, and then also our heat pump installers can get back up to $100,000 a year. So if you have an advertising budget, let's say it's $50,000, if you run through your participating New York State Clean Heat contractor and you work through our cooperative advertising program, you could get back $25,000 of that cost every year. So you can apply that, or maybe you double your advertising budget to $100,000 this year, and then you get 50 back, okay? One note on there that sorry, it's hard to see the screen. The marketing support services, so if you need to hire a firm to help you with your marketing, we will help you cost share that, but we do cap that at 25% of the total. We really want the money invested to go towards the media costs, towards the cost of making that word spread out in the market. So for requirements, we try to keep it pretty simple. The technology, the ad itself has to be focused on heat pumps. We're not going to cost share ads that are promoting fossil fuel services or technologies. So the entirety of the ad does need to be focused on heat pumps. The territory, the advertising just has to run in the CEF or SBC territory, and that's just due to funding constraints, where NYSERDA gets our money from. For reporting purposes, we do require that any advertising that's run through the program, you tell us how many leads you generated as a result, and then also projects. That helps us keep funding in the program, showing that it's working, and being able for us to offer that to you year after year. And then messaging requirements, you have to name the product. Sometimes we see ads come in and it just talks about heating and cooling, and it doesn't say heat pump. We're really focused on trying to grow that awareness and familiarity and then consideration of heat pumps. So say the word heat pump, say geothermal, say ground source, whichever word you want is fine with us, but let's name the technology. And then lastly, we just want one benefit of that tech mentioned inside of the ad. So what kind of things do we cost share through advertising? You can see this is a pretty extensive list. I'm not gonna read through it, but it is pretty robust here. It covers all the traditional advertising streams, print, digital, broadcast, whether you do TV or radio, email marketing, direct mails, etc. Very robust list here. And next we're gonna talk quickly about the other side of this co-op program, which is cooperative training. So it offers cost-sharing incentives for heat pump manufacturers and distributors that support sales, design, or installation training. So if you're an installer in the room, bring this opportunity to your manufacturer or distributor if you need training. Tell them, hey, NYSERDA's got this program, they can help cost share that, get involved with co-op advertising and training. Incentives available through the training side, like I said, it is specifically for manufacturers and distributors, and that is a 50% cost share with an annual cap of $50,000. And then lastly, on the training components, you can see here, there's just a couple rules, which I always feel is important to highlight. So training must serve at least 10 participants and be for New York State residents that are already existing workers in the HVAC industry, okay? There is training available through other workforce development programs that NYSERDA offers. The next session, which is another room over here, is all about workforce development. So if you're interested in that, I invite you to go listen to Adele Ferranti from NYSERDA talk about that during that session. But then you can see the sort of training activities and what those include. A wide variety of in-person training, online, as well as like providing funding for mobile portable training units. Equipment, if you don't already have equipment available to help you train, and then construction of facilities. And the last slide there is just a link. We tried to make it really simple, nyserda.ny.gov/coop, C-O-O-P. You'll find all the program details there. And with that, I'll turn it over to my colleague, Hannah.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. I'm going to go over two programs. The first program is a program that helps you evaluate clean heating and cooling technologies, which is the FlexTech program. And then I'm going to go over another program that helps customers install clean heating and cooling technologies. So the FlexTech program pays for energy studies, which can help you identify and evaluate opportunities to reduce energy costs and incorporate clean energy into your capital planning. The FlexTech program shares the cost to produce an objective, site-specific, and targeted study on how to best implement clean energy and energy efficiency technologies. So the FlexTech program is for commercial entities, multi-entities, and multifamily and industrial entities that pay into electric systems benefit charge. So the eligible cost-shared services include energies such as investigation of clean heating and cooling technologies like heat pumps, targeted or comprehensive analysis of equipment or systems, and thermal energy network feasibility studies. Other activities that are cost-shared include energy master planning, retro-commissioning analysis, energy storage analysis, and COVID-related indoor air quality analysis. So the benefits of FlexTech is that it can help you determine if a clean energy project is right for you, how to reduce your energy bills, and the payback for specific energy-related building upgrades. So the cost shares for FlexTech are between 50% to 75% of the energy studies. Most commercial entities receive a 50% cost share, but there are some sectors that receive a 75% cost share, such as higher education and P-12 schools. And if you are working with a non-public school located in disadvantaged community, they can receive up to 100% cost share through the FlexTech program. Next slide. So applying to the FlexTech program is super easy. You need to find a consultant to work with. So if you don't have a consultant, then we have a list of FlexTech consultants on our website. And then you have to submit your FlexTech application, which includes an application, a scope of work and budget, and a CFA. Once you submit an application, you typically receive a purchase order from NYSERDA within 12 to 14 weeks, which means you can start the project and move forward with the energy study. So if you are working with either a commercial, multifamily, or industrial entity who is interested in evaluating heat pumps, the FlexTech program would be a great program to get them into as a first step. Next slide. So the program that I run at NYSERDA is a Clean Green Schools Initiative. This program helps public under-resourced schools reduce energy use, save money, create healthier environments, and reduce their reliance on fossil fuels. The program was initially allocated about $160 million of funding. We have approximately $135 million of funding remaining. And to be eligible for the program, the public school must be either designated as high needs by the state education department or located in a disadvantaged community. And just to give you perspective, there's about 70% of public schools in New York State are eligible for this program. Next slide. So the Clean Green Schools Initiative provides funding in two different pathways to support a school's pathway towards decarbonization. So for track one, we provide funding so that schools can hire consultants to help them identify and evaluate opportunities to reduce energy use and save money. Track one is open enrollment, which means you apply to the program and you receive purchase order, I would say within 12 to 14 weeks. And it's open until December 30th, 2025. Track one is 100% funding between $650,000 to $1.25 million to support a variety of activities such as energy studies similar to FlexTech, clean heating, cooling design projects. So if you're working with a public school district that is eligible for this program and has already made the decision to, would they want to move forward with the ground source heat pump system, we would pay for the 100% design of that ground source heat pump system through this program, and we also pay for the borehole testing as well. Our funding is dependent on the school district's annual energy spend. So I just encourage everyone to look at our pond to see how much money is available for certain school districts. For track two, we provide funding, installation funding to help schools construct projects which eliminate or reduce fossil fuel use within their schools. Track two is competitive. This is the second round of track two, and applications are due by June 6, 2024, so about 10 weeks away. So the types of activities we pay for through track two include clean heating cooling projects, so ground source heat pump, air source heat pump, and VRF systems, as well as capital projects to move towards decarbonization, because we know some school districts may not be ready to jump to clean heating cooling technologies. So we pay for deep energy retrofits, other building electrification projects such as electrifying kitchen equipment, building envelope projects. And track two funding is again 100% funding up to the caps in our pond. So if you're working with a school with one building that you want to submit a proposal for, you can get $5,030,000 for that project. If you're working with a school district that wants to submit multiple buildings to this program, they can get up to $10,100,000 through track two. So it's again 100% funding, because we know a lot of the public under-resourced schools in New York State don't have the funding to really install these types of systems. And some of the application requirements for the program, for track one, which again is sort of the technical assistance, it's very similar to FlexTech. You submit an application, scope, work, and budget. For track two, which is the competitive side of the program where we provide construction funding, there's a little bit more effort that goes into that application, such as the energy savings of the project, the carbon savings of the project, the anticipated savings, the budget, a summary of the project. So there's a little bit more effort that goes into the track two proposals. But yeah, if you have any questions about this program, we're super excited about it. So feel free to send me an email, or we can talk after the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. That's it for our presenters. Let's please give them a hand. So just to round it out, on the right are our contacts and their info, and on the left, once we share the slides, will be the URLs to several of the resources that the teams shared today. And we'll leave this slide up, and now we're going to hand around a mic for questions in the audience. Thank you, Chris.
We got the okay to go to 10:45.
10:45. All right. Thank you.
And remember to wait for the mic, please, because we are recording it. And also, compared to last year, let's keep these respectful. The questions last year got a little bit aggressive.
Chris is our enforcer today, if folks don't get that message already.
We'll kick you right out. Not really.
Hi, I'm Jean Bergman from State Energy Project in New York, and my questions are for Hannah in particular. They're both related to FlexTech. First, is it in fact the case that for multifamily affordable housing, an AMI, Affordable Multifamily Energy Efficiency Program application, is sufficient to get a subsidy incentive for a FlexTech study. So that's question one. It says so on the website, but it's a little bit vague. And question two is, there's a 12 to 14 week evaluation review period, but then in order to get things paid, especially through Con Ed, everything needs to be completed by November 2025. So your long application period really condenses the time available to actually do the work. Is there any way to resolve that?
Thank you. Awesome. Yep. Thank you. Well, do you know that answer the first question, multifamily question?
Is it does it qualify?
Yeah. Do you want to answer that one?
Yeah, I mean, the short answer to the first one was yes. It's, yeah, they qualify. What was the second part?
The first part is an AMI application is sufficient.
Oh, AMI, yes,
For
yes.
FlexTech.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep. And the second question, can we condense the time period from, like the review process? So I think that's, we are definitely getting a lot of applications at NYSERDA. We do our best to process them as fast as we can. So I think the 12-week is typically as fast as we can to process them, but I can let my team know any suggestions you might have. Thank you.
I'd just like to second this woman's concern that the way that these programs are structured and the deadlines is very challenging. There's a definite bottleneck in the contracting community, in the number of number of firms that are able to complete these projects in a timely manner. And I bump up into this all the time, where there's a desperate rush to install and commission these systems before the incentives essentially expire, and it causes an extraordinary amount of stress, especially in the nonprofit community, where they don't have other money to allocate if the incentive doesn't come through. And I realize that there's reasons for these structures, but I would urge you all to think very sort of thoroughly about maybe making those deadlines a little bit more flexible. I've had a program, for instance, in New Hampshire, where there's one regulator and he has worked with us through these repeated delays with the contractor and stuff, but that's not going to be the case in New York State. It would really be devastating, especially for a school system or other nonprofit, to set everything up and then at the end of the day have to pay somehow out of their pocket hundreds of thousands of dollars for the completion of these programs. So those hard deadlines for completion and commissioning, are sometimes it can be months to actually get the system on site and balanced properly, and it's just it can be very challenging. So just a general comment.
Dr. Manisha Rane Fondakaru from Soul-Led Solutions, and this question is for Hannah. Like the FlexTech, the two programs, it is like free money on the table. So what is stopping for the schools from accessing these incentives and putting ground source heat pumps on their schools? Thank you.
Yep, that's a great question. She was saying there's a lot of free money on the table, and why might not most schools districts be leveraging it? I think school districts have multiple priorities that they're dealing with, whether it's health and safety, academics, everything. So I don't think energy usually comes first on that list. Is it what they're trying to address? But we're trying to push better marketing to say that it improves health, improves comfort. I think schools just have a lot of different priorities on their their responsibilities that they're dealing with. It's a great question.
A lot of questions for Hannah so far. Maybe next year we have a panel directed specifically for Hannah.
It's like a maze through there.
Hi, Anna Suida from ME Engineering. This is for Nicole. I'm just wondering if there are any plans for incentives for thermal conductivity testing, like for upstate, like there is for downstate.
No. Great question. Plans. I don't want to speak on behalf of the other utilities. I would say it's definitely on the radar. And I'm really excited to see how Con Edison does with this, and we're open.
Thank you. Ron Kamen, Earthkind Energy Consulting. I do a lot of work with various different entities that are looking at integrated technology solutions. So, Hannah, in particular, when the schools are looking at this aspect with the buildings, are we able also to get funding for them to look at school bus electrification and solarize the campuses to be able to generate that clean energy? Is there an integrated funding solution?
Yeah, that's a great question. So for track 2 of the program, which is the construction funding, there's 2 project types. There's, heat pumps is the first project type, and then the, deep energy retrofits, the capital projects move toward decarbonization. If they do either of those project types, there's a large list of other activities that are eligible, such as solar, ventilation filtration, lighting, windows, renewables. So those are all eligible project types under track 2 when combined with a primary project type. When we talk about the bus electrification, we actually have a separate program here at NYSERDA for both purchasing buses, electric school buses, purchasing electric chargers, and then also the electrification studies. So there is a whole other program at NYSERDA that supports that. So thank you.
Anybody else?
I think, Chris, you scared them this year.
I'm a scary guy.
One more comment. I go out and I do, my name is Aaron Flack. I work for Nile Water Heating Systems. I talk to engineers, developers, contractors every week of the year. And a big part of the problem with these programs is that they're complicated, and we understand that you need to hold people's feet to the fire to make sure that they are doing what they say they're going to do. Many government programs are robbed blind by criminals taking advantage of the system, but what would be very helpful would be simple materials, PowerPoint slides that you could make available that really just break down just the basics of the programs, because there's thousands of people like me out working in the field trying to convince people to take this path instead of sticking with gas. And the programs are complicated and hard to understand, and for a developer, they just want to know where the money's coming from and who to contact. And so like 2 or 3 slides would be an incredible fulcrum that people like myself could use to drive people towards these programs. But I already have a ton of information that I can try to condense into a slide, in a few days' time. But it would be helpful if your organizations actually created that material, and then it would actually be, it would be more accurate than what I can do with my notes and my memory. Just a suggestion again.
Yeah, so I mean, I can only speak on behalf of Con Edison. Some very good thoughts on how to improve the program. Yeah, and on a general comment too on your first comment, it's hard for us to make a commitment with budgets that are not authorized, right? So if you have a project that looks like it's going to complete in 27, our budget authorization goes through the end of 25. But I don't, I think if this is a general comment to anybody in the room, if you have projects that look like they're not on the end of 25 timescale, please do still come talk to us. I think it's, the state's made it really clear this is a very important technology, and they want us to continue investing in it. So perhaps, there's different ways that we can figure out how to support projects and make it such that nobody's caught holding the bag at the end of it if a timeline slips, right? So we can always have a conversation.
Hi, I'm Martha Sickles, Urbicon LLC. Thank you all for your presentations. I just wanted to follow up on colleagues' comments that as we're working with communities, particularly disadvantaged communities, having information that is very clear is really helpful, and case studies. We're always chasing down case studies that we can show people so they can see how it works, because it's much more relatable, and also how it's financed. And some of us are working on the New Efficiency New York comments, and so we just wanted to say, simplify. We need to figure out how to braid, particularly with the IRA monies coming. And my question is, how expended are your budgets? Do you have, is there a mad rush and everything is gone, or do you have funds left? Maybe could we run down, be really curious.
Another great question. I'm glad this finally came up. I can say, and again, I don't want to speak on behalf of everyone, but we do meet regularly and are all aware of, each other's programs and how they're running. Like we've stated, it does go till 2025. However, it's a very significant program. We don't see it, just stopping dead in its tracks. Our program for NYSEG and RG&E, as well as the others, again, through discussions, we're funded through 2025. We are, going to be able to sustain through 2025. We've put various measures on our clean heat program to make sure that there's no major rushes that are coming through or, huge projects that are going to come and eat through the budget. So therefore, we're able to serve, our residences as well, right? So we work tirelessly and analyze our data and our programs constantly to make sure that we are able to sustain through 2025. So just trust in that we will be operating and at the capacity that we are right now.
Awesome. From the Clean Green Schools Initiative perspective, the program was allocated $160 million. We have approximately $135 million remaining. $100 million of that is an Environmental Bond Act funding, which is going to support the Track 2 projects. And the remaining will be split between potentially another round of Track 2 or the Track 1 projects. So I see the funding going through 2025. What was the full budget? $160 million. Yep. And you have 135 remaining. Yep.
And it kind of, we get authorized a new 10 million across segments every month. If some of that money is not committed in the month, it gets added, added so we can use it in a future month, right? We're not in mad rush territory. We have the funding. Oh, sorry, can you hear me? Oh, great. Yeah, we are definitely not in mad rush territory. We have funding. If you have projects, please let's talk about them. Yeah. No, the way our budgets are structured is a little bit different at this point.
So currently, the cooperative advertising and training program is open through the end of this calendar year, and we do have funding available to cover us through that. So we are starting talks about an expansion past then, but right now we're only open through the end of this current year.
It's interesting that you mentioned about budgets or how much money. I know that last year the PSEG Long Island had an issue with it, and we were able to step up and find money to cover those projects, as well as we realized we needed to start capping some of it and start making some adjustments to it. This year we're running a little bit warmer than I would like, but I think that PSEG will find a way to step up and get more money. And I know that we're planning for 2025, and I just ran it with with planning, and it's a simple math is how much we're paying for a project times the number of projects New York State expects, and there's a big dollar signs there. So something needs to change a little bit. Either we find more money or we need to start reducing rebates. I tell people I like to run this program like a marathon, and I don't want to be a sprint. So we're going to keep an eye on how much money we're going to be spending, because this is not, I know we use the word 2025, but we're running out to 2030 and 2040 in order to get all these heat pumps installed. So we're all aware of it. Definitely rebates are going to change, I think, because of the federal tax credit. That's going to kind of increase at least the knowledge of it and the popularity of rebates. So all this stuff is going to get changed. The prices of contractors and all these things need to be relooked every year almost.
Okay, now with that, we're going to conclude this panel. Again, thank you for all of our attendees, our panelists, Chris, and all our folks that facilitated this panel. A couple of notes. The New York State Clean Heat Annual Report for the 2023 year was recently published on April 1st. It will be in that contractor resources link on my right. So there is details towards expenditures and achievements. And again, just a quick couple of shout outs. Go out and mingle with the exhibitors. And at 11 a.m., someone mentioned the IRA. There is a panel on that at 11. And my colleague Laura Gill in the room, she will be on that panel as well. So again, thanks everybody, and see you soon.
But let's have a conversation afterwards. It sounds like you have